Bit of context. We've been together since we were 18. Never had a great sex lift after the first year. Maybe once or twice a year at most since then, but at the minute it's going on 3 years, and although it bothers me, I love her and I love our kids, so I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I know plenty of friends in the same situation. Another bit of context is that I've always been mildly overweight but always fit, as I played a lot of sports until about 10 years ago when I got really ill and a mixtures of meds and comfort eating made me balloon up to nearly 300 pounds. Well, 2 years ago I decided to do something about. I'm now around 200, which at 6 feet 2 inches is the lightest I've been as an adult, and I've actually enjoyed using weights and for the first time in my life have a bit of abs and some muscle. My wife, having always been far hotter, is pretty obvious insecure about the fact that for the first time we've been together women are starting to look at me and message me on my baking pages on social media. For the record, I've never even looked at another woman in that way. On to the night in question. My wife went out with some friends, a mix of single and in a relationship. She looked stunning and I told her so. I even updated my phone home screen to that picture of her lol. One of the friends she was out with messaged me about 3 months and the gist was she knows I get no sex. My wife doesn't realize how lucky she is and basically, do I want to hook up? I obviously instantly take a screenshot and send it to my wife. Around 4 a.m. my wife gets home and she wakes me up as she gets into bed. I'm half awake but can tell something is wrong and ask what the matter is. She doesn't say anything for a few seconds, and as I go to grab her hand she pulls away. I ask if she wants me to get her a drink and she says no. Then she just blurts it out and says, I met a guy tonight, he kissed me. I didn't kiss back at first, then I did. Then for the next half hour we were dancing and constantly kissing. She kept saying sorry and begging me not to leave her. My honest first reaction was, so what, it's only kissing and dancing. I didn't say that. I just hugged her and tried to calm her down. An hour or so later, once I got the right words in my head, I said, I know you feel really guilty, but please don't. I'm not going to leave you and break up our family over some kissing and dancing, and I don't love you any less than I did yesterday, and this isn't something that's going to grow and cause an resentment. More or less right on cue my phone goes off and it's that friend of hers with a picture and a video of what my wife was doing. This set my wife off again, but my feelings still haven't changed, and a month later that remains the case. In that month since then, my wife has accused me of not loving her because I didn't care. She's accused me of kissing other people and more, which is why I didn't care, as I was covering up my own indiscretions, and she's accused me of being gay multiple times, which doesn't make sense. She keeps asking me why I haven't initiated anything with her, even though in the past she's told me she hates being touched and not to ever try it on with her, which I have respected. She's basically projecting, and it's annoying me as it's putting a strain on us, which she is 100% causing. How do I get through to her that she needs to stop feeling guilty and just move on, because I have, as it's not a big deal. I was genuinely more annoyed when she broke my baking bowl and tried to blame it on the cat lol. Edit. Hi all, just wanted to say thank you all so much for taking the time to respond to me. I really do appreciate it, and I'm overwhelmed you all took the time. I keep getting asked a few questions, so thought I'd address them here. Over the years we have been to a few different couples counselors and sex therapists, the latest being last September for both. My wife always feels like she's being victimized by them and we stopped going. Nearly all have said that they think she is asexual, and two even saying she is displaying a lot of signs of being a closeted lesbian, which I have brought up to her before and she is adamant she's not. On that note, I've had a lot of messages saying she wants to feel wanted and for me to be more forward with her. This is not true. In all our sessions she said she doesn't want me trying it on with her. She doesn't even want me to initiate hugs, and just bringing up sex makes her feel under pressure. She let me, and our therapists, know that if she ever sex without her initiating, it will be no more than pity sex. As for people saying I don't love her, I buy her flowers every Friday on the way home from work. I bake her favorite cookies or cupcakes every weekend. I send her voice notes of songs I'm listening to that remind me of her. I tell her I love her every day. I run her a bath every night. This isn't me showing off. This is how I was brought up, to show love. For those saying I must have been brought up in an unloving home, people have said that I don't get jealous, I don't love her. If she told me she was having an emotional affair, she spent hours on the phone with someone else laughing and joking, she snuggled on a sofa eating chocolates and watching TV with someone, etc., I'd be devastated. A dance and a kiss isn't a big deal to me, and not even close to divorce. Thank you all again for reading 20. Second edit. Sorry for these. It's 7 a.m. in the morning here now, the day after I posted this. Been talking to my wife since 6 and said she's got a week to agree to go back to couples counseling, and she's got to stick it out this time and not just accuse them of taking sides and refuse to go back. She said no. She said they all bully her and make her out to be the bad guy. She said I went back on my word that I forgive her and won't resent her. I said this isn't about the kiss, it's about her reaction since the kiss, and that it feels like she's purposely trying to drive me away and make me leave her. She just got up and stormed out the room. She then got dressed and said she's going out until I go to work. Comments where Op has replied. Commenter, she's trying to sabotage the relationship and she's getting mad that you won't let her. Oop, that's the conclusions I'm heartbreakingly coming to. This hurts infinitely more than seeing her kiss someone else. Commenter, did it ever occur to you that she wants you to be jealous and to fight for her? Blowing it off and being nonchalant about it makes feel like you don't care about other men hitting on her. All she wants is for you to get jealous about what happened, because if you don't, it's going to escalate from kissing to an affair, just to get your attention and reaction. Oop, well, if she's playing them sort of games, then I will leave her. That's what teenagers do, not adults in their 40s. Commenter, she told you because her friends had the evidence that a great guy was being screwed behind his back. You have a roommate, not a wife. Oop, I think that's the only reason she told me too. She knew she'd been filmed. At the end of the video, she looks at the camera and then darts towards it and the video ends. Commenter, others have said the same, but you both need to have a grown-up conversation to understand what is really going on here. Is the relationship working? Do you both remain committed? And do you see a future together? If so, couples counseling is the only way to go. You can't fix it here. If not, then divorce. Do it as kindly as possible, but do it quickly. No point dragging something out which is destined to fail. Oop, I'm happy to spend the rest of my life with her. I love her and my kids and the life we have. Would I like more sex? Yes, but we've been to the doctors, we've been to sex counselors, and they've found no problems. It's just who she is, and I'm happy to live with that if it means I get to be with her and the kids. Commenter, first, her friend who has the hots for you is in her ear. Second, maybe you need to take a look at your relationship and rekindle the romance. Maybe that's what she needs. I mean, why would her friend know about it? You guys are maybe acting like old married couples? And you are too young for that. Oop, I try and be romantic. I buy her flowers every Friday on my way home from work. I bake her favorite snacks every weekend. Even stupid little things like giving her the dinner that looks most presentable on the plate. On cold mornings, I'll get out of bed early to warm her car up and defrost it before she drives to work. On the physical side, I always tell her how beautiful she is, how hot she looks, because she fucking is. She's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, and I wouldn't change anything at all about her. She couldn't be more perfect to me. I just don't know what more I can do, and this is what her friend said to me. The message she sent me was so long, and it seems like she knows an awful lot, and she also sees it herself. There was one bit I keep thinking back to when she said she was round hours and I'd made my wife a homemade card and wrote a poem in it, and when I left the room she said my wife made a gagging face to her friend and started laughing. I can remember hearing a noise and then laughter, and I thought she just choked on her drink. That hurts me infinitely more than a kiss and a dance. If she's not attracted to men. I have asked her this numerous times throughout the marriage, and even suggested if she wanted to explore that side of herself, then she could, to try and find herself and be who she really is. She's always batted it away and said she's not a lesbian, she just has a low sex drive. This has always been my thought over the years, and I have brought it up to her privately, in couples counseling and in sex therapy. The sex therapist also said she's giving a lot of signs of being a closeted lesbian as well. How did you have kids if you have sex once a year? Both times we tried for kids she got pregnant pretty much instantly. First one within a month, second one within 2 months. We'd have sex every day but no foreplay or anything, unfortunately. One more clarification from Oop. If she told me she loved someone else, I'd be devastated. If she told me she was talking to another man on the phone for hours a week and laughing and joking, I'd be devastated. If she said she went to a flower arranging class with someone else, I'd be devastated. I just don't think a kiss is a big deal. Update 1, March 31st, 2024. It's been nearly 2 weeks since I made the post, and the short update is that we are getting divorced. I said in my last post I told her I wanted us to go back to couples counseling and sex therapy. She said no to both as we went before, and she felt bullied. She said at sex therapy that unless she initiates touching, not just sex, any touching like hugs or hand holding, it will be against her will and will be forced/pity affection from her. The sex therapist said that's very unreasonable, and that's why she felt bullied there. I tried to ask her a few questions too. Are you a lesbian, or at least bi? Don't be stupid. Are you asexual? I'm not a teenager with a stupid label. What did he have I don't? Nothing, I just wanted to do it. Why don't you ever want to do that with me? Don't know. What can I do to make you want to do that to me? Don't know. Do you want me to take the initiative and try it on with you more? Fuck no, I'll tell you when I want it, don't guess. So she refused the therapy and gave me no straight answers. She has also said I've gone back on my word about not letting the kiss split us up, because now it is. I said it's not the kiss, it's your behavior since then that has caused me to want a divorce. She said as it's my decision to divorce and it's all my fault, then I should be the one to tell out kids and she will have no part of it. That was hard. As soon as they were told, my wife left for her sisters, and in the 3 days since I haven't heard anything from her. I've tried speaking to her about the kids as they miss her, but she reads my messages and ignores me. A lot of people asked about the friend and why they still talk after she tried it on with me. How I understand it is my wife tried to get the friend group to cut the friend out, but they all pretty much refused, and so my wife just chose to ignore her in group settings. On the night in question, the friend approached my wife and told her if she didn't tell me she would send me the video. So my wife didn't tell me because she felt guilty, but because she was forced. I've also spoke to a couple of other friends in the group and asked what's been going on. I'm not privy to. Apparently my wife was sexting her friend's boyfriend a couple of years ago. My wife has also been boasting about how she has me under the thumb and she gets away with giving me nothing and I'm too scared to ask. The friend apparently saw me out shopping one day and decided I was now more fuckable and thought she'd try and exact some revenge on my wife. So she didn't really want me, I was just a pawn in this weird friend group's one of many internal beefs with each other which I found out about in the last few days. Basically they all seem to hate each other and mess with each other's partners. I'll be honest now and I feel incredibly guilty about it, but when she left my body and soul seemed to take a massive sigh of relief. It was like a black cloud that was dripping eggshells on the floor for me to constantly avoid is gone. I feel terrible for feeling this way, but I feel like I'm my 6 feet 2 inches height now, rather a browbeaten 3 foot who was scared to even say anything for fear of being told I'm wrong or insulted or ridiculed. It's like the blinkers have been taken off. Spent the day today baking with my kids, eating Easter eggs and watching cartoons, and I haven't stopped smiling all day. I haven't winced or broke out in a sweat worrying I'm about to be told off about being too noisy or watching the wrong thing on TV or there's a wrapper on the floor, etc. Thank you everyone for your support on my last post. I appreciate you all. 20 comments. Commenter, she sounds like a really horrible human being. Onwards and upwards, my brother. Oop, she's always been a bit cold, but the last few months she's really stepped it up. Now there's a lot of things that have happened over the years that I'm seeing in a different light now. Commenter, you sound like a good person who just wanted to save your marriage. Glad you now realize no woman is worth being treated like you've been treated. It will be a rough time for a while, but you're gonna come out of this stronger. And never date or marry cold, basic women again. Oop. It is rough and I do feel like a failure for not being enough for her, but at the same time I genuinely feel 2 foot taller and 100 pounds lighter since she left. It's a really weird feeling. I now know I'd rather live alone under a bridge than in a household like that again. Commenter, you didn't fail her, you failed yourself by believing all this toxic, abusive shit she was feeding you. And that's understandable. Abuse creeps up on you until it's under your skin. It sounds like she had you convinced you could do nothing right. You deserve to be treated with respect, kindness and honesty. These things cost absolutely nothing, they're baseline standards for human interaction. At least if you're dealing with decent people. Oop, that's exactly how it was. I was scared to even offer an opinion on something and I still am now. My kids asked yesterday what film I wanted to watch and I found myself scared to give an answer, thinking whatever I chose would be rejected and I'd be ridiculed. Commenter, you didn't go back on your word, friend. Her actions after the fact, and lack thereof, is the reason. Oop, yep, I'm still not bothered about the kiss. Commenter, she doesn't want to take responsibility and is trying to manipulate you into the bad guy. You want to improve the situation and improve yourself from outside help. She wants the status quo to remain and is blaming the medical professionals for making her confront the way she treats you. Covert narcissists. Look it up so you don't fall into that trap again. It may suck now, but your sanity should come back to you. You've been living in her mind games for a long time. Oop, she is 100% making me the bad guy. I'm not on social media but keep hearing about posts saying things like you give your life to someone only for them to drop you when your halo slips a bit, whatever, lol. Commenter, dude. Look up covert narcissistic. She caused all the problems, you tried to fix them but it was never enough or correct for her. Oop, that's what I've been thinking about the last few days, that everything wrong in her life has been traced back to me and is my fault. From big things like I don't earn enough money for her to live in the house she wants to little things like she knocked her glass over and it's my fault as I talked to her while she was watching something. Commenter, don't ignore this behavior. It never goes well. Clean your name, people listen to gossip more than they'd like to admit. Keep all of these screenshots. It will help during the divorce. If she sends anything too personal or pushes the line too much, make sure you send her an email telling her you do not want your information to be released publicly. Then she can't play dumb. Oop, there was one where she implied I cheated. It was a pictures about how cheating ruins relationships and then her status with it was something like so true but I'm willing to forgive and forget. My friend commented and said, wanna delete this or shall I post the video? I really hate this sort of shit, it makes me cringe. If the kids are old enough, tell them she cheated. They are too young for that. I just told them that mommy and daddy have decided it's best we don't live together anymore and it's something a lot of grown-ups do but it's not the kids' faults and they are still loved and cherished by both of us. Post the video/proof. I've got that video and all the screenshots of her sexting her friends' boyfriends, and also there's some screenshot of a WhatsApp group chat where she has been posting pics for strangers to comment on, but it's blatantly her as she has a tattoo under her boob which is unique to her. There are also some other videos and pics of nights out which her friend group have sent me. Keep records. UK courts probably won't care as much about the cheating so much as the abandonment. Yeah, agreed, the courts don't care, it's more for my own sake if she tries to twist it on me and say I left her for no reason and she did nothing wrong. I'm keeping a record of her not answering the phone to me or my eldest son, and also how long it's been since she left and that she left of her own accord and has chosen to not come back. Don't take her back. I'll never take her back. I know a lot of people called me spineless in my last post, but I'm one of them people who once I make a decision I stick to it. Finally. Commenter, update us when she realizes the grass ain't greener. Oop, she's been out nearly every night since she went to her sister's. I genuinely hope she does find some nice green grass and be happy. Now on to the next story. Story 2. Wife's hypersexuality disorder led to her secretly cheating on me with her therapist and dozens of strangers online. I only discovered the truth when I checked her laptop. I met my wife in college and instantly knew that I wanted to be with her for the rest of my life. Aside from the usual stuff like thinking she was cute and fun to be around, she was incredible in bed. I know that sounds like the most shallow, worst reason to want to marry someone, but it was something else. She was everything that I ever wanted, and falling for her wasn't hard. She was actually the first one to say I love you in our relationship, and ever since then we had been discussing marriage and starting a family together. Her sex drive has always been abnormal to me. Don't get me wrong, when I was younger and in college I absolutely loved it. We would sleep together sometimes 5 times a day because she simply couldn't get enough. It only continued the longer we were together. Normally, you would expect something like that to slow down a bit as you settle into a relationship. It just never died with her. I know that a lot of our friends were envious of our relationship in that respect, but it was exhausting. It actually hit a point where I started to worry that there was something deeper going on. If we weren't having sex, she was thinking about it, she was texting me about it, it was constant. She ended up going to a therapist and they told her that she had a hypersexual disorder, which if you don't know what that means, it's what people used to call nymphomania. It honestly explained so much about her libido, and finally hearing that from a professional rationalized a lot of the more negative feelings I had about it. The therapist told her that for the most part, it was manageable, though it could sometimes lead to sexual addictions. She just joked about it at first, telling me that she was a sex addict and there was nothing she could do about it. If that was the case, I genuinely wanted to help her. Addiction is hard to deal with, no matter what kind it is. I sat her down one day and we had a long talk about all of it. I told her that I thought it would be good if there were some changes and that I was worried about her. In the end, we decided that we wouldn't sleep together for a week and we would see how she was doing at the end of it. She had a hard time during the week. I think it confirmed a lot of the suspicions that I had that her actions were bordering on an addiction. But from what I could tell, she ended up getting through it. At the end of the week, she was just excited to be with me. She was in therapy around the same time, so I knew I wasn't trying to control her behavior or anything. On top of therapy, I helped to orchestrate somewhat of a schedule for having sex. That way we could make sure it wasn't something she was constantly getting to help discourage the addictive behavior. Everything was going well for about 3 months. I thought that she was recovering from everything and it felt like we were in a good place with our relationship. While she was at therapy one day, I was doing a little bit of work around the house and I heard some notifications going off on her computer. She normally didn't leave it on, so it was a little weird, but I didn't think much of it. The notifications just kept going off though. After about 10 minutes of that, I was getting annoyed, so I went to shut her laptop so I wouldn't hear the noise anymore. While I was looking at her screen, I caught a glimpse of the messages. They were Discord messages in an NSFW Discord channel that were all extremely sexual. She posted a picture in one of the channels and all of the notifications I heard were pings being sent to her. When I looked at the picture, my heart broke into a million pieces. It was an explicit picture of her giving head to another guy. There were a bunch of people commenting on it saying things like "I wish that was me," and she was role-playing openly with all of these random people. I searched her name on the server to try and figure out what exactly was going on there. She had uploaded several pictures all with the same man. In one of them, she added a comment about how she seduced her therapist. I had never met her therapist, so I wasn't 100% positive that it was actually him. If it was, there was a huge moral and ethical violation there. Right away, I looked up her therapist to see if it looked like the guy in the pictures. It did. She had been sleeping with her therapist all these times. She told me she was going to work on her recovery. The more I looked at her computer, the more evidence I found that she never took anything I said seriously. There were countless private chats with people from that server where they were role-playing and exchanging pictures. She had been using Omegle to chat with strangers and no doubt do sexual things online with them. I had no idea her problems ran as deep as they did. I didn't know if these chats and messages started before I talked to her about her possible addiction or after. Regardless, it was unacceptable. There was so much for me to go through that I must have been sitting at her desk for hours. She actually came home while I was looking. She found me in front of her computer and saw what I was looking at. I told her that I wanted her out and there was nothing she could do to sway my mind about that. She just tried to blame her actions on her hypersexual disorder. I thought it was complete bull. I kicked her out of the house for the night and immediately started trying to figure out what to do about her therapist. I looked over a credit card statement to see if he was still being paid by us. As it turned out, he was. The man went to school for many years to be a therapist and was dumb enough to sleep with a patient while still being paid by them. If he had any brains, he would have at least terminated her as a client first. It wasn't clear if I would have any grounds to sue him because he was sleeping with my wife, but I could at least get his practice closed down after filing a complaint. So, of course, I did that. I reported him to all of the proper channels that I found online. I also called the office and spoke to one of the management staff about it. On top of all of that, he was married. I was certain that after losing his practice and potentially his license, his wife would find out about what he did and hopefully she would leave him. As for my wife, I didn't care if she still needed help with her recovery at that point. She made a conscious decision to cheat on me and undermine our vows, so I had no choice but to leave her. Genuinely, I hope she gets help. She is somebody that I've had a lot of love for and I don't want to see her hurting in any way. But I can't be a part of her life if that's how she's going to behave. We finalized the divorce and I ended up selling the house that we lived in because I couldn't stand knowing that something could have happened there that I didn't know about.